My eyes just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
It's early morning, and somehow Marc Clarke has to wake up. Of course, Marc has a little help.
I just want to float. We can stay forever.
What? Wait, what about eh? What Wakanda? What Wakanda? Wakanda.
Level up, 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 level up.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. Riding back on Hilton Head Island. I can't wait to get on the road again. Bam! Mom's in front. Bam! Skylar's second. Spencer's third. And last but not least, the first, Sid Rock. Heading to the beach.
Is that delicious beverage?
Duh.
And welcome to the show. It's the weekend, baby.
Oh, the horn's going early.
We getting the horn. We are horny early in the show. Huh?
That's pretty early.
Welcome to the weekend, baby. We got a nice show planned. Bootsy, you got big plans this weekend?
Yes, my son has his first baseball game Sunday at Maryland Eastern Shore. Just a small plug for that, as I hate going over the Bay Bridge, but the life of a parent, you have to do what you got to do. So I am riding over that Bay Bridge to take my son to his first game. It's the first game of, shout out to the Extreme 24/7 youth baseball team. This is their first game that they're pitching. And my son is the starting pitcher, so I'm excited about that. I just hate going over the Bay Bridge. Also, for all you parents who have kids in sports, so my son, if they win, they go to the next round, and they get to go. If they lose, we get to go home early. I'm not saying I'm hoping they lose early so I can get back over that Bay Bridge kind of early and be home before 7. But if they lose the first game, I wouldn't be upset.
Now, that's messed up. And what is it with you black folks in bridges?
Man,
people are the most, we survived everything, but we be scary about little things. Bridges, pools, man. We got little bugs.
You know why though? Because I don't think black folks built it.
Okay. Now see, calm down. Don't even start. That's a whole controversy.
I know. It ain't Black History Month no more. So yeah.
So I played Delicious Beverage Spot. This next week, Bootsy, I'm going to Vegas the first trade show that I'm attending with Delicious Beverage.
Oh, wow.
As you know, Delicious Beverage, we are trying to get out there. We have a couple meetings with, I think, Quick Trip, a couple big people. It's the first time I've been to a trade show in Vegas, so I'm excited about that. I ring the horn for that. So,
wow.
Bootsy, this next person, and actually, this brother, in addition to being a comedian superstar, he's also an entrepreneur. This brother, I have a couple different intros I wanted to do, Bootsy, to sound important. So I'm going to do both of them.
Okay,
and then
I
I'm
like
going to
it.
flip the one that don't work as well, right? So,
Okay.
number one, the easy one was, you know, in baseball, speaking of baseball, you talked about your son in baseball. In baseball, the scouts have a designation, Bootsy, for a player who has all 5 tools. If I call him a 5-tool player, you know, running, hitting, fielding. And so in the game of comedy, our next guest is what I call a 5-tool player. Absolutely. He can give you impressions. He's physical. Okay. His stage presence is superior. He's political.
Facts.
He's got bars.
Facts.
He can be, you know what I'm saying? He's funny. He's insightful. And he's sexy. So he's also had, you know what I'm saying?
I never got that from him. I never got that from him.
The men want to be him and the women want to be with him.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that was the first one, right? You like that?
I love that one. You know what else he is, though? Even before you elaborate. From a DC native, he's a real, true DC Southeast icon. If we've ever had one, we throw this word legend out here. But from a young guy in DC, growing up in the 80s, in the 90s, trying to aspire to be something, he was the gold standard. He was the first person that I saw being from DC, being unapologetically from DC, and had no qualms of telling you where he was from. So from my perspective as a kid, he's a real icon to me, personally, bro.
Awesome. Okay, and so that was one intro. That's a great intro. I think that's a good intro. This next one is a little bit more abstract, right?
Okay.
When I went to Qatar and Dubai, right? I went as a guest, my friend Safir, but a guest of the Emirati, right? The powerful people.
Sounds
people
important.
At the top.
Right.
And we're chilling after you know the feast, and they start talking, and one of them was like, "You know what? I hate poets." I hate poets. Why would you hate poets? I'm in my mind. Why do I hate poets? So poets in that society are the equivalent of comedians in a sense, in that they're the king. The poets are close to the king. The poets are, you know, we say court gesture, right?
Right.
But the poets have a lot of power. And this guy, as a leader in my Emirati, he was envious of the power that the poets held. And I thought about it, and I thought about our next guest. Our next guest, I think, is that kind of guy that people in power could feel the same way about. Why? He's super influential.
Facts.
He's a man of the people, and he has the power to make people do stuff. You know, promoters, the promoters feel a certain way about our next guest because he wasn't just, you ain't going to just take advantage of me. I'm going to make some demands because I know who I am. I know my power. And so my next guest, that was the second intro. I don't know. Maybe both of them are okay, but the first one probably was more powerful. But anyway, without any further ado, my next man coming to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Teddy Carpenter joins us on the Marc Clarke Show. Teddy Carpenter, welcome, sir.
Man, what's going on, man? Y'all give me all kind of accolades as I take off this ankle bracelet and go back to lock up.
That's right.
I'm gonna get some more time, man. I got an ankle bracelet on. Y'all gave me all kind of stuff, man. The man and you went all the way to Baghdad and came back or somewhere, but somewhere over there.
It was a lot.
Well, Teddy, I think people forget. Now we're gonna do a quick memory real quick. This little remember, if y'all remember these days, we remember this because I was in Springfield, Illinois when I first saw this brother, and I think it went something like this. This was one of the first times I saw this brother.
But I'm full black. I don't give a fuck.
Shit.
I got a black car and a black driveway and a black house in a black motherfucking neighborhood. I
don't know why I was so angry, bro. I don't know why I was so angry.
The nigga run, even though we don't know what the fuck he talking about half the goddamn time. You know Jesse will make up a word in a minute. Y'all know that. I saw his ass one time. He tried to put a rap song in a speech and think I couldn't figure the motherfucker out. I seen him in Atlanta. Jesse came up. They asked Jesse how was he when he was a young boy. Jesse said, well, when I was a young man, I never learned to swim. Can't catch the rhythm of the stroke. Why should I hold my breath feeling that I might choke?
That's a loud shirt, boy. That shirt loud, bro.
But see, y'all just think.
Again,
that shirt loud, bro. That shirt, man, back in the day, man, I said, man, I'm going loud and I'm going big, man.
Let me tell you something, man. It was funny, Teddy, and I think the impact of Def Jam for people is that, so, you know, I think probably I wasn't in spring. I was out of college by then. But at the end of the day, you thought you knew these people, right? And Teddy came out, his presence, his power, everything was just so memorable. We were quoting the quote. We know Jesse's quote, Martin Luther King's quote, when Teddy picked up.
Guess what else, Mark?
Pick up big honeys across the country.
Yeah. I used to pick up them 300s all the way across the country till I dropped 2 of them.
Like I said, Bootsy, with the same thing with Sugar Bear. I personally met Teddy the first time, which he won't remember, in St. Louis. They used to do Funny First Thursday in St. Louis, and Teddy came and turned it out. And the thing that was different about Teddy's deal than most comedians was he had like the R&B singer vibe in that after the show, the honeys were in line. The honeys were in line to meet Teddy Carpenter. And again, obviously he didn't care about insurance because he was picking up 300-pound honeys all across the country. And I know his insurance people were like, dude, all it takes is one bad night and it's over. Teddy didn't care. Teddy Carpenter, he had it. He had this.
But I had it for a while until I dropped one of them in Atlanta. And I dropped one of them in, I can't even remember, man. I had to retire that act, man.
Oh, damn.
I had to, man, I mean, that girl went back, she went down on her back, man, and I couldn't say nothing. I didn't even have a joke funny enough to follow what I just did when I dropped that girl in Atlanta. So, you know, way back in this part.
Unknown fact, unknown go-go history fact about that. So that bit that he did when he was like, never learned to swim, can't catch the rhythm of the stroke. Northeast Groovers added that to the water dance, and it ended up becoming one of their biggest hits ever. If you Google the water dance, they kind of add that because I remember in the beginning, people thought they got it from Teddy Carpenter until people.
Yes, you're telling me something I don't know.
Yeah, Teddy, I swear to God, people was like, "Oh, did you hear Northeast Groovers put the Teddy Carpenter thing into the song?" But everybody did not understand that it was Parliament and Funkadelic.
It was Parliament and Funkadelic,
right? Yeah, but but you remember the water dance came out right after that, and that was the hook in the song. And for a while, people were confused over whether it was did you make that up, or was it Parliament and Funkadelic? So it was so historic.
It was definitely Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah, but you never know who's watching, especially from here, who's inspired, or who can take what and put it into what. So that was such a historical joke because when you were on, it felt like everybody in DC knew they had to be on and watching it. It was almost like when we were young, and if it was a black family or Family Feud, we all got to kind of be there to watch and root for the black family. That was literally what it was when this man was on Def Comedy Jam. So yeah.
And so
unknown go-go fact. I'm sorry, Mark.
So Teddy, I'm shocked, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna have to look that up, bro, because that's the first time I've ever heard that, and I'm not even lying to you.
Yeah, so it's called the water dance.
Teddy, I think, again, being from a small town, I noticed how black people move when I saw them in spaces, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, Chicago brothers, DC brothers, obviously New York, right? But like Chicago, DC, different. Right? Like a certain kind of like energy, a certain type of blackness, if you will, that, you know what it really was? Again, being from small town America, when you're a black person in most parts of America, you are conditioned to make sure you are cool and move in a positive way for the white man. That's what your whole goal is. Yeah. I need to get a job. I need to know how, and so the plus of it is a person like me, I know how to do that. But there's a certain swagger and confidence that, again, the first time you hit the stage is undeniable. And I was like, now that I know it, it's that DC thing where it's like, first of all, I ain't impressed. I know rich black folks. I know poor black folks. I know black people that own stuff. I know black people don't own nothing. It's a certain confidence and thing you have, and also that self-worth part. So Ted, did it ever work against you? Like, did your energy ever work against you, your confidence in self?
Oh yeah, because I mean, for a long time, because you got to understand when you're a person that comes through the door unapologetically, as a black man, oh, you too much. It's an issue. Oh, he's boisterous. Oh, he's loud. Oh, but if it was a white man, oh, he's a genius. Oh, he's just out front. The words change. They used to talk about this in football players, when they would say, quarterback, oh, he's athletic, and they would say everything but he's smart, and then the white kid that was a quarterback, oh, he's methodical, he's smart, he's intelligent, he's all these things. So did it ever work against me? For the longest, because you just couldn't tell me anything. And you got to understand, I was one of the first people that spoke up, even with the Def Jam situation, because we're selling out Constitution Hall, 2 shows, tickets $60, and they want to pay you $1,000. I ain't the smartest joke in school, but that math just didn't add up to me.
That math wasn't mathing.
That math was not math. And so when you speak up on stuff and you're a young black man, it worked against me. I probably lost. I can't begin to tell you, how much money I lost in every situation, being from blacklisted to, just not asked to be on the show because you're the person that's going to, be the troublemaker. And there's really no troublemaker. It's just, you just can't pimp me as hard as you. I mean, we all got pimped. I mean, me too. I mean, Def Jam was a record company. That's what people don't realize. It was a record company. So what are record companies known to do? I mean, look back in every show from Cadillac. What's that show? Cadillac, something Cadillac. It was
Cadillac
about
Records.
Cadillac Records.
Yeah.
It was about the blues, and they went in there and they just, they was just happy to sing a song.
Rest in peace, Maurice White.
He was the drummer. The Jewish boy owns all the masters. You know what I'm saying? So the way they had to make their money is on the road. And so it was nothing different. And at one time it was a backlash against the Def Jam. If you even said you were on Def Jam, you couldn't get a job with white groups because they didn't want any Def Jam performers on there. They got sick of that. So if you actually had that in your resume, you couldn't get hired.
Wow.
Or it worked against you in both ways. It worked against you dealing with them because it was a pimp game. Don't get me wrong, we made money, but a lot of people didn't make the maximum of what they could have made. I mean, including Def Jam, because if they knew it was going to be that big, if they knew, they didn't know Def Jam was going to hit that hard. Because if they did, they would have signed everybody. And they didn't. So now when people started working and getting their own jobs, they started, if you work here, you're never going to work with us again, and all kind of different stuff. And I was already, you got to understand, I was already making money before I did Def Jam. I just found the tape. at the Apollo. I'm talking about like a week ago. Just found the tape at the Apollo that I did right before the Def Jam taping. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bob Sumner went around and he found a lot of people. Well, he didn't find me. I didn't have to audition for, because in fact, I didn't even want to do Def Jam. To keep it 100, I didn't even want to do Def Jam.
What made you do it?
Huh?
What made you do it?
Well, because you got to remember, back then, the biggest thing was a HBO 30-minute special.
Okay.
That's what everybody wanted. So you would see people, and I think the only black person you saw was, now of course you had Richard Pryor and stuff like that, but I'm talking about up and coming comics.
Yeah.
Got you.
So the only black person you saw was Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
He did a 30-minute special. So, and then they would have all these white boys and blah, 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 blah. And so you wanted one of those, because doing that or doing Johnny Carson, that's how you made it. That's how they told you made it. That was the one that walked you through the door, right? That credit was huge. So, when Def Jam, when I heard about Def Jam, I was like, Def Jam? I don't want to do that. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't want to do that shit. I was like, man, I don't want to do that bullshit. I want to do a 30-minute special. Well, if you do Def Jam, blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, I'm not interested in that shit. Now, understand, you young, nobody's guiding you. You're making your own career. Nobody's sitting you there and say, hey, young fella, okay, this is what you do. You do this, and then you show, and then you're able to go out. Nobody does that. So what I decided to do is I was like, okay, I will do it because somebody there works for HBO. It's going to be on HBO. Somebody there works for HBO. So let me go talk to that person. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I said, okay, I'm going to do Def Jam. And I had the supreme confidence at that point. Like I had a mean 7 minutes. I had maybe 2 or 3 mean 7-minute slots. So I could just, boom, 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 boom. So, it was already tested. And I was like, okay. And again, being young, not arrogant, but being young. When I first got in there, the very first thing I did is went to the production office. And I said, who's in charge? Who works for HBO? Who's in charge? I wanted to find out what producer. And the lady was like, like, why? Like, we all in charge. Like, what are you doing here? And I said, listen, I'm going to get a standing ovation. And when I do, I would like to talk to somebody about getting a 30-minute special. They looked at each other like, the fuck? Like, and it was a joke to them. I was dead ass serious. So they were like, okay. And the one lady with a black hair, I remember her name for the longest time, but I don't remember it now. She was like, yeah, talk to me. Like, I'll talk to you. Like, yeah, motherfucker, go ahead. Yeah. Fuck out of here. But again, I was dead ass serious. So what I did was anytime you do a TV show or you do a taping, I was in the first series of taping, and the way that Def Jam taped was, they taped all day, a show at 1, a show at 3, a show. Now on TV, it made it look like it was every weekend live. It wasn't.
At night.
At night and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was, and now some of it was at night because they taped all day.
Gotcha.
That same day. So you would take 5-6 guys, 5-6 guys at one taping. Because they're gonna edit, and then they're gonna also kick somebody's ass off. Right? So I said, okay, when I did the deal, I said, all right, I want to go third. How many people y'all got? We got 6. Okay, I want to go third. Oh, well, we're not sure when the lot. Nope, not doing that shit unless I go third. So how much time? This amount. Now, understand I did taping before, so you want to shoot for that time, but even if you go over, they can edit a little bit and push it together. Not only that, they'll keep your whole set and they'll edit somebody else's time. So, all these little tricks I learned.
Okay.
So third, they say, okay, we're going to let you go third. And the reason that you go third is we wasn't sure what we was walking into. I did the very first taping. I jumped in the pool first, even though I think I had the second show or the third show that ever came out, but I was in the very first taping. And so if you do that, you want somebody else to be the sacrificial lamb. So the first guy, get his ass on out there, get your ass out there. So he out there and blah, 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 and such and such. Okay. All right. He all right. The second guy, nice little warm up. So I was the third guy, prime position. Now, the reason you don't want to go last, because if somebody whoop your ass, all these 6 people, and you don't get a chance to get off, you just hurt yourself. Wow. So that's exactly, my plan. Went through it, got a standing ovation, got off stage, didn't talk to anybody, went back to the production office and say, can we talk now? and they was like, not right now. The show's on, but they were shocked because I said I was going to do it. I did it, but again, not being arrogant, just not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Once I did that, I was locked into Def Jam forever. They wasn't going to let me. They wasn't going to give me a 30-minute special. They wasn't going because
you was already typecast with Def Jam.
You was already typecast. Just
Gotcha.
that fast. Just that fast.
Wow.
Yeah. Just that fast. Hey man, can I get a Teddy Carpenter at Teddy Carpenter like Boosie Vegas got on his?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I wrote it. I wrote it on there.
You could at the thing where it says
where it says
your
Teddy.
name.
Can I get Teddy at Teddy Carpenter?
Yeah,
like
no, that I don't have control of that. You got to put it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you got to do is probably log out. When you log back in, it said with your name at the bottom, just put at Teddy Carpenter.
I don't think you have to log out. You know, in your picture, Teddy.
No, here you go. I got this shit. I got it. I
see where it says the 3 dots.
I got it. We in business now.
I love it. Ted, I would love to ask you this one question because and go ahead. There you go. You got it.
Bam.
Man, my man, boy, on the fly.
Morning show. Come on. Y'all come on over here and visit us. Come on.
Absolutely.
Right, go ahead, bro.
So just as a guy born and raised in DC, the 80s was considered the golden era of comedians, black comedians in there. I would love to know how you started, where you started at, and who was in the mix in DC when you first started, because there are a lot of names, there are a lot of folklore stories of who was here, who wasn't, all that. I would love to know what were your beginnings and who was in the mix at DC comedy back then.
Well, for real, I just Sunday, I think it was Sunday, shot a part of the documentary. They're doing a documentary called DC, the Mecca of Comedy.
I've heard about it.
And I wasn't going to do that either. I wasn't going to do it. Hey, Mark, you got me easy, bro. Because motherfuckers would tell you, I'm like, nope, I don't want to do that. No,
I know. I know.
Wait a minute. You forgot. I know.
And it was. I'm doing more things because I do have a story to tell. I'll tell you because it's more than Def Jam. I think people see Def Jam and then that's it. They didn't see me anymore. So there's a story to that, and it's a background to a lot of this stuff. But to answer your question, when I was coming through, comedy again was predominantly white. So you had to dress the part if you wanted to do comedy, because again, this is what they're telling you. If you want to get in comedy, you had to learn how to do predominantly white clubs. That's what you had to do. And they would slow roll you 2 minutes, open mic, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then they got a different rhythm. Their rhythm is dot joke, dot joke. They want you to do that.
And this was in DC back then?
This is in DC. Garvin's, I forget the other comedy club, but what I had to do is go into the hood clubs, and it wasn't a comedy club. It was a dance club. So you're talking about the Ibex. You're talking about Chapter 3. You're talking about all of these joints you can walk outside and get shot at or get shot.
Southwest in the 80s.
Southwest in the 80s was you know what? Bruh. So
Teddy, don't forget about Mr. Henry's. I saw you say something about Mr. Henry's.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Mr. Henry's is coming up. And I was mad because in the documentary, he kept talking about the 2 white clubs. And I was answering the questions and whatever, and I never said Mr. Henry's. And after they packed up, I was like, Mr. Henry's. But, and I'll talk about Henry's in a second. So when you did these clubs, there was no comedy introduction. Remember, comedy is controlled. Like we're sitting down talking, comedy is controlled. So what people don't realize, it's not like a band. So the DJ, motherfuckers is grinding, dancing, go on, whatever the case would be, and all of a sudden, okay, we got a comedian. He gonna get up here and tell some jokes, I guess.
Wow.
Where he at? He over there. What's his name?
Wow.
Yeah. He gonna get up and do like 5 minutes for y'all's ass. And so niggas is mad. They and remember,
wow,
everybody in there think they're a comic. So every joke you told, motherfucker gonna tell a joke on you. You feel me? So that's the places I had to go in order to get better than the 2-minute or the 5-minute or the structure that they had. And then I started going to Mr. Henry's. And Mr. Henry's, that people don't know, it was a little club, probably set. What you think, man? 60 people?
Yeah.
Top,
maybe
I mean
70
tops. 60.
But it was always packed.
Yes, it was.
Always packed. And I think at one time it was only $2 to get in. It was like $2, $4, something like that. And Henry's became my training ground, because it gave me a real audience that was both black and white, predominantly black. And when I did Def Jam and the Apollos, that's where I sharpened my skills. That's how I knew when I went wherever I was going, it was going to be on point, because that represented what they weren't hardcore. They just wasn't going to laugh if you wasn't funny.
Right.
If it was funny, they would give it to you.
Who was there with you? Who were some of the comedians that was coming up with you? Or literally it was just like everybody was everywhere?
No. Of course, just to tell a little story, my whole original Def Jam set, my whole set, I had actually gave to Chris Thomas, because I couldn't do the voices.
Like
I couldn't do Jesse and all of that. I had the concept, but I couldn't do the material. So I actually tried to give it to Chris Thomas. Chris Thomas looked at me like I had a hole in my head, and I was actually at Mr. Henry's. He came through one day. I was like, bro, I got this stuff and blah, blah, and you can have it. And he was like, yeah, nah, nigga, I don't want that shit.
But Teddy, you killed it though. That's the part. You killed the voices, and I don't see you do voices a lot, but everyone, including the Scooby-Doo dog, you nailed it, man.
But I'm gonna tell you, it's a trick to that. See, Chris Thomas was he could do all the voices. Chris can be Jesse all day. I can be Jesse for the joke.
Oh, okay.
And so what I did was I kept doing it. I practiced everywhere I go, blah, 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 all day long. I was Richard Pryor until I started hitting those little keywords and the syllables and the sounds and the this and the that. But remember, all I did is really did the joke. I was able to get away, blah, 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 and being able to do the joke. Okay. So I was able to get away with it faster than I wanted.
Wait a minute, Bootsy. Wait one damn minute.
He dropping jewels. If everybody's listening,
jewels, but I'm getting ready to hit off a revelation that I now have with Teddy damn Carpenter. So
what's that?
Much like Ray Lewis in Baltimore, right? Ray Lewis, we always talked about how much of a beast Ray Lewis was.
Right.
It wasn't until Ray was past the age where most can perform that you realized in that damn Super Bowl when was 4th and 1 and Ray was in the hole because he knew where the play was going, that you finally realized that Ray Lewis was a master of the game. So Ted Carpenter, especially as a young man, you see this young guy. Basically, as a man, Ted is a charismatic person, and that's what you look at. But what I realize now, Ted, as a grown-ass man, is he's a student of the game. He's a student of comedy. He's very, and actually, what worked against you, Ted, was if you were a fat guy or unattractive guy, and you were the same person, and you asked those questions, they would have said, "Oh, he's nerdy." But because you were virile and you were black and you were strong and you asked the questions, they said, "Oh, he's arrogant." So it's so funny. If a nerd asks a question of someone who appears to be a nerd, it's one thing. If Denzel asks a question, it's something else. So I figured it out, Teddy. You're a damn student of the comedy game.
Let me tell you this. If you pay attention real close, and I'm not saying none of these guys will be funny, but a lot of people have a gimmick. And when I say a gimmick, for lack of words. So a fat dude, people always want to laugh at a fat dude. So, to play the fat boy role and the blah, blah, blah. Okay. They always, if you notice real close now, you see a lot of comics coming from the South. coming from out of Atlanta. Because guess what? They talk funny. But let's trace it all the way back to Chris Tucker. Come on, man, and all that stuff and blah, blah. It hits. That's the gimmick. But what happens also is when you do those concert dates, that come on, man, can only last 3-4 times. Now you got to do a show. But the gimmick sometimes gets them through the door, gets that attention or whatever. Now, I'm not saying, Chris, when I say gimmick, I'm not referring to, oh, they went in like that. What I'm saying is if you watch real close, like, you know, even the Cat Williams, little leprechaun type of dude. See, Cat Williams used to be Cat in the Hat. See, people don't go back far enough to know. He used to be Cat in the Hat. He used to wear a funny hat, you know, cane, and that was his show. He changed over when the movie came. He changed over, you know, Cat Williams. Rest is history. But the funny voice, the how he approaches things. That don't get me wrong. He probably still is going to be funny, but it takes a minute, and people will catch on to one thing. I didn't have that. I don't have it now. I don't have any
type of presentation gimmick that go along with. I get what you're saying.
Any kind of funny voice, just regular come in. So I had to rely on the joke. You know, I couldn't present it. I couldn't say, you know, all these funny words that some of the cats is, you know, if just do the homework. And a lot of people don't know it's happening. They just see it, you know, they hear it and I like this person and blah, blah, blah. And so the guys who are flourishing got a little gimmick, you know, what's his name? Not Bruce, Lavelle Crawford. I remember Lavelle used to get pissed because everybody thought he was Bruce, which I don't know how, because they don't look alike. They just two fat dudes, right? But Lavelle used to be pissed because remember, Bruce was moving. Lavelle wasn't at the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
But Lavelle, when he hit all the fat jokes he did and whatever, you're laughing more at him than at him.
At the joke.
You're laughing at him, but then he's just adding on what he does, and the rest is history. So I never had that that gimmicky or any niche. I had to do the joke.
So I would love to ask you probably the one question that you get when you do interviews. It's like now the whole new comedian, young or older. In your opinion, OG Mr. Teddy Carpenter, do you think social media has helped comedy or it has hindered it, or it goes back and forth? I would love to know your perspective on social media and comedy.
Good question. Has it helped or has it hindered?
Yeah.
I will say this. It's changed the game. Completely changed the game. Because you no longer have to put in work the way that I did. And you can go out and do 30 videos, put them on certain platforms and get 100, 200, 300,000 followers. And then you figure out how to monetize it and you jump over to comedy. The problem is when you jump over to comedy, you haven't put any work in. And it's one of those things where you can't cut corners. Right. You can cut corners, but it's going to show up just like a boxing match. And you ever see them boxing matches, both of them warming up and you sizing them up and you like, man, I don't know, this is going to be a good one. And that Bama get out there and lead one and he get caught up in it and he out right away. That's because he didn't put in the work. And these guys are getting on the comedy stage because they take the money. It's a stupid promoter out there somewhere. I promise you. One is probably watching us right now. He's saying to himself, Slim got 700,000 followers. I can't miss. And then he get there. This dude 10 G's or whatever, and the dude know he ain't been on stage no more than 10 minutes. But he tells the promoter, "Oh yeah, I do that shit. That's what I do. I'm a stand-up comic." What people don't realize, when you shoot any type of video you see or anything like that, you could do a take 100 times to get it right. Take, cut, that wasn't right. Let's do it again. Cut, Let's do it. We'll say it this way. And then you come out. It's just like a selfie. You see women taking selfies. You can put your money on that selfie that she put up. Wasn't the first selfie she took.
Wow.
That heifer then took all kind of angles.
Heifer.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All kind of, and she picked the best one, and then she put it up, and she waited all day to see how many likes she got with that selfie. Well, comedy is the same way. These young boys is coming from, we call them internet comics. Now, some of them have hit, and some of them have learned that I still got to put my work in there. I got a little young kid. His name is Terry Jones. He likes to call himself Goofy. I won't call it little nigga Goofy. Like, come on, bro. Cut it out. So his name is Terry Jones. Terry is going to be a pretty good comic. I told him, he asked, he came down. I even invited you, Mark. I said, come on, hang with me and Don Carey down at the Jazz and Blues. But that's the Jazz and Blues. I let him come. And he was just happy. I mean, he was just happy to be there. And both of us talked to him. We was like, bro, change that goofy shit. But he got damn near 200,000 followers.
Wow.
200,000. Doing little skits, little whatever, camera this, not a whole lot of equipment, blah, blah, blah. Edited. And so he got that. But he's still learning how to get on stage. And he's at least doing it the right way. He's putting the time on stage, but he's walking through with this. And that's kind of, how it is now. So I have to do it backwards. I got the time on stage,
right? But
because I wasn't, I was using social media. Like I put my kids up. I put the neighbor's cat. You know what I'm saying? I put some car tires. Just some bullshit. I wasn't. Everybody else was building their followers. I was like, man, I'm not doing all that shit. And I said maybe a month and a half ago, maybe a month. They was like, bruh, you got to do this. You got to put your stuff up. You got to do it. So I started doing a little homework and started looking at people's stuff. And I started looking at, this girl was like, look at their followers, look at it. And I started looking at followers, and them motherfuckers had 200,000 and I had 7, and that was 7 motherfuckers I knew. I was like, oh my God, I'm way behind. So I started doing things like this. It's been building at Teddy Carpenter. If you're not on there, they told me to say that. Subscribe and follow.
That's right.
But that's what we started doing. So I said, okay, I'm going to do a live once a day for 90 days. Once a day for 90 days, even if it's a few minutes. I'm going to put up a tape, or I'll put up an old clip, or I'll put up something. I started learning how to do this stuff. So we off and running. We're trying to get something to go viral to get it in. But to my surprise, I've been getting a lot of comics just wanting to come on and talk. Come on and one of the first things the little thing said is use somebody else's platform. And when you use somebody else's platform, your numbers come through. So I said, okay. And that's what we've been doing. So I said over the last month, we probably got about 2,000 added on. So
I think you should do, like you said, I think you should do at least once a week do an interview with a comedian. Because I always wanted to do, I love comedians, and because I'm a wannabe comedian, but because I know so much, and I respect it so much, it's always close. Like you said, I was there. Just like you said in your story. I was back in St. Louis with Lavelle at the club that was formerly a Ponderosa.
Right.
Like you said, you described it so perfectly.
Right.
You got 2 minutes. Like you said, people on the grinding. It's time for a comedian. What?
Yeah.
and so I would go up, and I was working in radio, and and I really wanted to, I go up and do my thing, and I'm funny, like you say, funny on the radio, but funny on the radio ain't the same as being funny in a room full of black folks.
It is a skill, because now I'm doing it opposite, and they'll have to do these lives and podcasts.
Yeah.
And when you now have to entertain somebody and just keep creating subjects every day, I got on the other day. I said, "Look, man, I ain't entertaining you, motherfuckers. Y'all gonna come on and tell me something, man. I'm not sitting here all day and y'all motherfuckers just waiting for me to tell jokes and I ain't been doing it for a month, and I'm already sick of this shit. I'm like, man.
You know. I got a movie idea. It's Teddy Carpenter should be. It's a comedy set in slavery.
Oh Lord.
And Teddy,
this ain't gonna turn out good.
Is a slave that ain't gonna do shit.
I'm already dead in the movie.
Yeah. First scene, he out of there. The first time somebody gets smart with him.
Would not do shit. I ain't gonna be doing no cotton now.
I'm already out. I'm dead already. I don't know where that's going. How can I be a leading man when I know I'm gonna die? I know I'm gonna die. You know,
early in the situation.
I do have a show we're working on. We've been working on. I got to tell you about my show, man. We're working on a show. Actually, 2 of them, but we're working on one, and I'm slowly putting it together. It's called "What's Behind the Joke," and it's basically originally it was airport pickup. And airport pickup, "What's Behind the Joke?" It turned into "What's Behind the Joke." It's basically following guys, picking them up from the airport, following them through the day of the show, all the way through, getting the interview, kicking it with them, and then the night of the show, we get them out 2 or 3 minutes of the show, and just really their routine, some of the jokes. But it's not just comics. That's the key. It's not just comics. It's agents. It's different people, because everybody loves comedy in a sense, and everybody in their own little way at home or whatever are joke artists. You know, they can't get on. Like you said, you can do it in the studio. You can do it, whatever case be. So everybody has that. So what's behind the jokes is people telling their real story, what's going on, how they, up until, the concert that they do. So we already got Don DC Curry. We got Ali Sadiq on hold. We are going to get Lavelle Crawford, agent out of Philadelphia named Walt Reeder, who was one of the agents. He's one of the only independent black agents in the country. He's the one that does Big Daddy Kane and all of them. In fact, he's out there with the New Edition tour. And so it's a lot of people, and it's not just all jokes. It's comedy coming out of pain and whatever. I interviewed a person, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to tell his business, but his kid just overdosed. Maybe a month ago, and you still got to get up because you're booked. You still got to get up and make other people happy about their life as yours is sliding up from underneath you. One of the hardest things I ever did when my youngest son was born, he was rushed from Southern Hospital to Children's Hospital, and his lung, or whatever case may be, wasn't really activating right or whatever. And the white around your eyes, his was dark green because the blood wasn't flowing properly through the body. So he was in intensive care. He was, we would walk in, he was in the incubator, not incubator, but in the little with the kids. What is it? Something Nick. And tubes and stuff, had a tube in his head, all of this stuff. And every day it was either his mother or I would, we would sleep there. There was one of us there through the night, but I had to go and do shows every night. This was when I was really doing shows, and I had to go and do a show every night. Wow. And then I would come back and sleep in the hospital. And almost every week, because you would meet parents, right? Other people's kids are in there, and you would meet parents, and you would come in there one day and all the parents are in there crying. The people you just met a week ago. Well, guess what? Their kid just died. And so we went through care, and I said, Lord, if you let this, and that's one of the reasons I didn't move to LA. And I was like, Lord, if you let this boy live, I'm going to do A, B, and C, blah, 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 and everything. And one day, I say 3 months later, he, my sister went in there and prayed and, did all kind of, I thought they was going to put her out the hospital, some of them black women. And I say about a day or two later, that boy was, them tubes came out, whatever, everything came out. He had one checkup, and they was like, he's straight. And I was like, shit. But I'm telling you, bro, that was difficult.
Does he play basketball? Is that the one that plays basketball?
That's the one that plays basketball.
Come on,
and he's a baller too.
That's the one that plays basketball.
And he is balling at TC Win.
Come on, won't he do it? Come on now.
Yeah, man. So it's a lot of little stories in the background. I had I got my other son. He's a tattoo artist, and I have another son that's in Texas. But I've been lucky. I've been lucky. So a lot of things have happened to me. It wasn't the fact that I was trying to be a knucklehead or anything like that. It was just our business was a pimp business. We're in the business of judgment. Like a lot of people don't like to be judged. Well, if you're a stand-up comic, that's all you do. You're judged. You're judged by the joke. You're judged by what you look like. You're judged by what you sound like. You're judged all the way through. And you just got to get used to it. That's why when T.I. jumped in this thing, he jumped in it. The motherfuckers are mad. He cussing out people. T.I., chill out. You're going to be judged, bro. Period. Wow. T.I.'s on a tour. And don't get me wrong. I don't know what T.I. is on stage. I don't know. I know that we'll welcome him. I'll welcome him, but don't get it twisted. This shit ain't easy.
Right.
And as you go on tour, he's going to figure that out because people are going to pay money and then he's going to be judged. And you going to try to fight everybody? It ain't going to happen. You're going to go to one of these cities, especially DC. It don't matter how many goons you got with you. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a problem. So all I'm saying is learn the craft. And if you learn the craft, you'll be okay. You just got to put in the work.
So Teddy, it felt like, I follow you on social media, Facebook and everything like that. And, and again, I could be projecting, right? But it felt like to me, number one, all the social media you're doing for your upcoming shows and the clips you're playing, dude, you are killing it, man. It's like so refreshing. I guess I hadn't heard Teddy Carpenter in a long time. And so all your bits, man, everything, your presence is just like, again, but you are, that's who you are. But I felt like if I'm doing my own assessment, my assessment was your personal life had taken you off the stage in addition to COVID and all that kind of stuff. And so I looked at it like, and to be honest, I almost felt like I almost felt some frustration, when I looked at your
it's
Facebook.
More than that. It's a lot of politics. It's a lot of roadblocks. It's a lot of I'm in a very unique situation. I actually have to really get good management and a good agent around, so I don't really have to talk to a whole lot of people. I got a guy, Greg Hollis. See, when you're the man, the phone calls come in and Greg can handle it. When you're not the man, you have to make those phone calls. So it's different. But you have to have a good team around you. But it's frustrating because I'm in a unique situation. I'm not a lot of those dudes opening acts. They're scared of me. So I always tell young comics, they're like, man, I'm getting help from him and he's doing this. And I tell them, look, don't be all in on this. They're helping you because you ain't shit right now. You ain't shit. Once you become a threat, all of that help and all of that love is going to go out the window because now a promoter's now making a choice between him or him.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus before that was solely his spot. So as you move up, you're going to become a threat. My issue has always been I was a threat from day one. So when tours were going out and a lot of shows, a lot of guys who had their choice of who was opening for them, they wasn't picking me. Like I get none of those shows. Like I don't get none of. When I say I don't get none of, I'm talking about 30 years running. I ain't talking about this year. I'm talking about 30 years. Like You know, so that when they say, well, why, you know, you should come. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of guys that can do it, but it's one of those things where why wrestle a bear every night? Like, that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to put on a guy who can be funny, because they want funny guys, but they don't want somebody who could possibly take the show. So, I mean, that's just a game. I don't, there's no, like, I don't be like, man, yeah, that's fucked up. No, me and Don Curry are very good friends. A lot of times we can't work together because whatever the money is, it's not enough money to split between him and I. You know, if it's 10,000, he want 9 of it. And I'm like, nah, nigga, I don't mind giving you the bulk, but 9, nigga, 9. You know, and that's, you know, and unfortunately, that's kind of how the thing goes. You know?
I would love to know. I don't know if you've ever get asked this question a lot or whatever. I would love to know, who are your top 5 comedians who you look to get inspired from, even growing up back then early? Like, who were the people that inspired you, and who are your favorite comedians? Who is Teddy Carpenter's favorite comedian?
Well, first of all, me.
Right. I can see that.
No, a lot of people won't say that. Fuck
right.
That. I'm saying that because I gotta do a grind, and am I the top 5? Maybe not right now, but shit. You know, this game rigged, so right. I'm gonna rig it for me. You know,
right.
Of course, always a Richard Pryor. Mm-hmm. I would give Eddie Murphy for what he's done. From there, it gets murky. No, because there's so many guys for so many different reasons.
Right.
People would ask me, would Bernie, like, one of the top, because I did a lot of shows with Bernie. Was Bernie was the top comic that you perform with? And they kind of surprised when I say no. No, don't get me wrong. He was the top dog. Like, the world loved Bernie. And Bernie was funny Bernie was everybody's uncle.
Right.
So the world loved him. Like, the world embraced him and they loved him. And that's what I was saying when I was saying gimmick, and I'm saying gimmick for a lack of words. So right. Bernie was a gimmick. I hate when people turn my words around.
No,
right. Lack of words. Bernie had that some of a bitch. He had words that you always gonna remember. So he had a gimmick going with the language and how he acted in the whole 9.
Right.
I didn't have that. But the person that would be in Bernie would definitely be one. I would put Bernie, and I would probably put Robin Harris.
Ooh. Because
Robin showed me something that I never saw. Like I never saw. And me and my buddy Dana was just talking about this. Cause see, I can remember stuff, but I can't remember all of it. Right. So he went to LA with me. I did a contest. Long story short, I did a contest. Arsenio Hall. Funniest comic go to Arsenio Hall, and they was talking about even being on Arsenio Hall. So I was like, I got to get that. Well, my car wasn't working, and I had to go to Norfolk, Virginia. So guess what? I used his car. I said, look, man, I need your car. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to win this contest. And this is how I was talking. He'll tell you, I'm going to win this contest. And when I do, me and you going to go to L.A. He was like, yeah, all right, nigga, all right. Gave me the keys, all right, Went down there and won the contest. Come on, bro. Let's pack. Let's go. So we go to L.A. Now, if you go to L.A., you need a car.
100%.
You need a car.
100.
I just asked him, I said, how did we get around? Because we was everywhere. But I was like, how did we get around? He said, boy, you talked to these 2 ugly girls. They wasn't that cute, but they had a car. And they took us everywhere we wanted to go. I was like, seriously? He was like, yeah, they dropped us off at the studio, and they did the. Bro, I don't remember that. So we do the Arsenio Hall thing, but I'm actually going, damn, Arsenio Hall. Of course, I want to be there, but I want to go to the Comedy Act Theater where Robin Harris was at. That's where he was performing. Oh, and wow. I'm pretty good. Like, I was pretty good, right? I get to the Comedy Act Theater, in LA. I think it's off of Crenshaw. And dude named Michael Williams. And I even got the tape. I just found the tape where he's talking about, this is years later. I found some tape. He's talking about the first time I came. So he'll verify. So I get in there. They didn't want to give me really no time on stage. And they put me up super early. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bring in all my spidey senses. I'm gonna kill their ass. And I got up on stage, killed them, got a standing ovation. Now this is odd at this place. Right. So, and I'm trying to set the table, let y'all know I'm that dude. I'm that dude. Man, Robert Harris got up there, bruh, and he started doing his show. He was the MC, so he could come on and will. And he started doing his show, and he had these dudes. The room, I'm trying to describe this properly. The room, they were laughing, but it wasn't that much noise. And I was like, kind of trying to figure this out. You know what it was? They was laughing so hard. You ever see somebody just laughing and they really not making noise? And they were laughing all the way through to the next joke, all the way through to the next joke. It wasn't ha ha ha, and then a joke, ha ha ha. It wasn't that. It was all the way through. Every time he went up, it was all the way through. People losing control of themselves, wiping their face, snot coming out their nose. I said, I got to get better. I got to get better. After a standing ovation.
Wow.
I said, I got to get better.
Wow.
I've never seen that before. Never seen that. Never seen. And I'm talking about even came back to watch again. Same thing. Same. So when he did his special on HBO, Robert Harris, he did the special. I was one of the first people to say that wasn't good. It wasn't good. You know why? Because he did it under the conditions that they put him under, and he did the material, and those people wasn't his people. If they would have taped that at the Comedy Act Theater,
wow,
hands down, straight dog. In fact, it ever could be a show that was put together. People like, what show would you be on that you would get kicked off of? If they put Robert Harris, Bernie Mac on a show, I would ask to go first.
Wow.
I'm not going last. I'm not going in the middle. I want first.
Wow. They were both that good.
I refuse to get my ass whooped every night.
Wow.
Well, they have that's on HBO. They have that the chocolate Sundays that with the kind of talks about the Comedy Act Theater. So Robin got a little love on that, and so Teddy, man, look, man, I hit you last minute, bruh.
Well, good, man.
Again, we connected. Whatever. We feel like we know, it felt like we know each other like for years. It's weird, right?
Absolutely.
When I think we've hung out at HUR, but I don't know what it is. And brother, whatever you are, I'll be there. And any kind of way I can help promote this, I'll
send
this and send you the things that you can post on social media if you want to. But anything I could do, bruh, because I think again, at the end of the day, what worked against you was you always knew your value. And like you said, comedy, basically, Dame Dash kind of said it best. Dame Dash says he doesn't want to manage anybody anymore because he doesn't want to basically be like a slave owner. It's almost like I'm getting paid off your talent. I'm getting paid. Somebody's getting paid off of somebody else's gifts. Right. And he says, I'm going to be an artist. I don't want to do that anymore. So it's time for you to get paid, man, because again, there's no question about the comedy. It's just now it's time. I think it's just time.
Yeah.
Unknown fact. How much?
Here we go. Got another.
Hold on. Unknown Teddy Carpenter story between me and Teddy Carpenter. I have so much respect for Teddy Carpenter and love and admiration that I almost relocated because me and him had a radio situation, possibly in Detroit. We had talked about it. The only person that I was really going to relocate for to do some radio for was Teddy Carpenter. That's how much respect I had for him. The opportunity that he, you know what I mean, and I appreciate you for, even though it never materialized, Teddy, but you have no idea how much I appreciate the radio opportunity that you did present for me to go somewhere, man. I'm forever grateful. And as a DC person, let me just tell you first and foremost, man, thank you for all the people that you inspired to know that we could leave here and be ourselves while we're doing it, man. And I appreciate you, bro. I got nothing but respect and admiration for you, man. And I'm just happy you still out here getting it, man.
Hey, man, I first of all, I appreciate that. It's amazing because I'm going on these lives and I'm hearing these stories that I have forgotten.
Right.
I'm not joking. I have forgotten, and guys are telling the stories. And like Sadiq told me, Ali Sadiq told me, you ain't even want to shake my hand. I said, well, no, that ain't true. I may not have talked to you, but he was like, no, I remember it was, he gave me the dates, times, everything. But then he also told me, but you came up to me and said, man, you a bad dude. Because I've always been a fan of his, so I can't remember what he's talking about. You know, my boy told me when we went on that trip to LA, and first of all, it was the first time I met Michael Collier, and he was telling me that we was on the set of Harlem Nights. And I was like,
wow.
Nigga, no, we wasn't. He said, nigga, we was at the scene where they blew up the candy store. Remember in Harlem Nights, they blew the candy.
Yeah.
And I was saying, they didn't even, Harlem Nights wasn't way back then. He was like, we was on the damn set. He started naming shit. Bruh.
Well, let me tell you something. It's funny about life, like you said, Teddy. It all kind of, I think we get to a certain age and it runs together anyway. Actually, I think I misspoke. I said the first time I met Teddy was in St. Louis. Actually, I think the first time I met Teddy was in Huntsville, Alabama. And back then, as you know, Teddy, when you used to do those comedy shows in little small ass towns,
yeah,
the radio guy, a lot of times, because it's like only black people or whatever.
The host.
Yeah, I can't. I think I picked you up and took you somewhere because, but, and I think I only say that because I think then when I saw you in St. Louis, I think I was like, oh yeah, and you're like, man, I don't know about that, but I was just thinking, but like you said, that's a prime example. I think it's just a part of age, man, and I think being in our business, a lot of times performing and your mindset, you know, you're getting ready to perform. You're caught up. You know, you're caught up doing stuff.
You know, with me, I never paced the room and I never huffed and puffed and I never, you know, I could talk and kick it with you and whatever. I kind of shut it down a little bit, with not a whole lot of stuff going on before I go on stage. But some people can't do that. My thing has been, I didn't stop the smell of roses.
We talked about that yesterday, Bootsy.
I didn't stop the smell of roses. I would go into a city. I ain't visit. You know, somebody say, have you been to blah, blah, blah? Yeah. Oh, did you go down to? No. Because all I did is went in.
Yep.
Robotically went to the show, did the show, got back on a plane, and I was back home at my son's basketball game by 2 o'clock. Like I never left. Never left.
I said the same thing. I did New York. I commuted to New York for 3 years, and I told my family the other day, like you said, Teddy, I don't think I didn't realize, you know what I mean? I worked in New York for 3 years. Yeah. I didn't realize it because, like you said, I came home every weekend. I really didn't plug in. You just kind of, like you said, robotically do it. And then you look back and you be like, man, you know, and so now I'm trying to remember that because, like you say, we're at the age where you start to realize things are precious. And people be like, hey, like you said, all that stuff, the great information, what you said about Def Comedy Jam and those great stories. And also, Teddy, you're an amazing storyteller. That's the other part. But you know that. You're an amazing storyteller, man.
I appreciate that, man. I just, you know, doing it, like I said, doing these podcasts, talking to these people, my mouth is open because, you know, they're telling me stuff that I'm like, yeah. And I'm just waiting for a dude to come up and say, you're my father. I'm just waiting.
Well, Bootsy got something to tell you. Hold on.
You know, I'm just waiting for that situation to happen, you know. you know, because I remember back in the day, this girl said I had a daughter, and she was sending my mother pictures and all, a pretty little girl, and then she poof disappeared. And you know, I was like, man, you know, I don't know. But I'm waiting for somebody to knock on the door and say, I seen you on Instagram.
So you think that's a possibility, Ted?
I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility. At one time I was running amok, you know.
It happens. We all have those days.
Yeah,
we all in this business.
Yeah, I was running amok, man. I was you know, and some of the famous people that y'all know, I can remember, you know, we was on the road and then all of a sudden you hood rich, or you know, that people know who you are. Man, them promoters, because remember, all the promoters for the most part that Def Jam had was hood dudes, or either bag boys or hustlers, or you know what I'm saying. Right. So they was trying to clean the money up, and so they would give, you know, they would pay $20,000-$30,000 for everybody, but they knew where everybody stayed at the hotel. So if they wasn't cool with everything, they'd get their man to go back there, they'd get that money. So a whole bunch of dudes got robbed, you know, or they would send a girl, you know, hang out with him, send a girl, and she would leave the door unlocked, and they go in there taking money, take his clothes, take everything. What are you gonna do? There's a whole lot of people, you know, right now. I ain't gonna tell their names, but they've been robbed like a mother.
Say one on your way out, Ted. Say one on your way out.
Bro. I can't do it, man. I can't do it, man. I ain't gonna.
But they didn't get you, Ted?
No, hell no.
No. The Southeast would have came out of him real quick.
I got to the point at one time I would change hotels if it was like that.
Wow. Isn't that something crazy?
The stuff we don't know.
Teddy Carpenter, you can follow Teddy at Teddy Carpenter on all the platforms. I know Instagram, everything else. My brother, I appreciate you. You don't do a lot of them, brother. I appreciate you.
Sure don't.
I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to get back on it though. I appreciate y'all having me, man. Good luck with y'all show. Boosie, I appreciate everything you said, brother. I really do. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you putting the battery in my back, giving me that phone call to keep moving after the Donnie Septon show. I appreciate you, bro.
My man, 50 grand. Mark, anytime, tell Allison I said what's happening.
Definitely.
Hey, you know, I want one of the morning shows, man. You know, that's one thing I haven't done. I have not been on that one. I see people come into town and do the morning show. I got to do at least one morning show.
So Teddy, what do you have? Let me know what's coming up next, and we can coordinate that. I'll I would coordinate it because you're right. It's time.
Fair enough. I appreciate
it. Teddy Carpenter, ladies and gentlemen. All right, y'all, take care. Have a great weekend.